והנה avodah shel yad mizgala pnimis adam ha'elyon. So what is the avodah that reveals the pnimis of Adam Elyon? And what is Adam Elyon? Anybody? This is the Eses Sfiras Hagluyos, the revealed 10 Sfiras Atzilus. And the whole Chiddush is that our avodah impressions there, how could it impression there? If it's already a tzir of the 10 divine Sfiras, because B'pnimi it's Pashut, and the reason Pnimi it's Pashut is because it itself is merely a reflection of the Esek Sfiras Agnosis in the Mayim Elyonim, which there, as we explained at length, it's the pure Mayim Elyonim, it's the Pshitos, it's the purity of the Ein Sof that can bear the tzir. It's nothing other than the Ein Sof itself, and that's reflected back to Atzilus. So the Pnimius of Atzilus, Be'emes, is the purity of Elikus, and therefore we can impression there, we're invited there. So the Avodah is, what's the Avodah which does that? What's the Avodah which sets us all in motion, by which we affect directly the Adam Ha'elyon, that's the Lev Ha'adam L'Ha'adam. So B'chlol, it's the Avodah, the Biddush Nefesh Habam is, it's a refinement of our animal soul. We said, just finished saying before that there are two Avodas, but in Torah, who's going to say this now? No, it's coming. Okay. So the Avodah V'Shabam is Gezesh Eses Sfiras Hagaloy Yisayim B'Chetzonos. We did this yesterday. Yeah, we did the whole thing, the whole paragraph. Huh? I don't think so. No. So this that Eses Sfiras Hagaloy Yisayim B'Chetzonos, the fact that Atzilus externally is something else. It appears to be externally. Mitzad the Seder of Ishtalshus, Mitzad the Teva Habriya, the nature of creation. It appears to be a Dovar Nivdol. Atzilus is something Shinis Havam Eses Sfiras Hagnuzos that were created from Eses Sfiras Hagnuzos. What gives that appearance of something? So what comes first? Eses Sfiras Hagnuzos. They produce Eses Sfiras Hagluyos. What causes that perception? By divine design, because of the tzimtzum, there's the tzimtzum, though it doesn't conceal for God, but it does for us, and it creates a whole new altered reality. And now avodah is to dissolve the tzimtzum, which means to reveal to the tzimtzum itself as a likus. But and through refining the animal soul, not doing away with it. By refining the animal soul, we're refining the tzimtzum. The tzimtzum conceals? No. The tzimtzum is just a process of Havai Holikim. It's all him. It's all a process of his expression. So how do we remove that barrier that creates a sense of otherness? It's no longer you. It's now it has description. It's definitive. It's through refining our own nefesh habam, which is made of the 10 koichas hanefesh. So through the Zichur Nefesh Habam is Nasa, because that's the point of it all, where the objective, Nasa Zichur Chaparsa, this refines and illuminates that parsa, that veil. The Tzimtzum, Shebin L'maylim Atzilus, Eses Ragnosus Vatzilus, which separates and makes this distinction, going from God to otherness, on some level, that distinction is removed. Between Eses Agnosus and Eses Agluis and the Gnuzis, which is Atzilus. And therefore, through our avodah, what we reveal, this is an expression found constantly in Chassidus, nirgesh begiloi, it's felt openly. What is this? Is a feeling? This is a question of emotions here, feeling. Anybody want to offer it? This is constant. This is the language of the Maimonides, Chassidus. Nirgesh, through this it's felt. What's the felt business? So this we accomplish. Yes, you just use black and white, simple language. Nirgish makes it sound like it's also subjective. My feelings. Well, if that's how you feel, then okay. Why is the nirgish constantly? No, that's not a trick question, Pasha. It is a nirgish begila. Therefore, it's felt, literally experienced. Anybody want to say something? I'm going to say what you're thinking. Is it just that because the Pnimius, this is what it is. It always was all along. We just didn't feel it. The Tzimtzum is what gives us feel the sense of separation. Through our Avodah, we're not really changing anything. We're just revealing the truth from Das Elyon, God's perspective, what Tzimtzum is. So now we feel the truth of the Zeh all along. We're not really creating anything new. We're just being Megala, the Pnimius. Geula, that would emphasize, is the same word as Goyla, but the Aleph is there. Everything is Elikus. We don't feel that. That's because Hashem did that, because he concealed himself in such a way that we don't experience him. But that concealment itself is also him. So if we reveal that, then it's all as him. Havaya Hulikim. Who's Atzmos? Havaya Gilui Elikim Tzimtzum. Who? It's all you. Hence the language constantly of Nirgish. The emes is what it is, but you experience it. Now you're going to experience it. So Nirgish begile besas v'datzilus shem gile desas v'saknus. We reveal that the asasvidas atzilus that externally appear to be a whole new reality, a whole new divine expression, a compromised expression of the Eibishter. It's not. It's pnimis. It's asasvidas aknus, meaning it's all him. Or kanal, as we emphasized before, the whole point. This is the thrust of the Maimah in these words. No, this is saying that hang on a sec. He's saying that the face in the water is what it reflects back to the person. The person's Atzilus. What's he seeing? The face in the water. So Atzilus is the reflection of Esesfis Agnuzis, and that he explained earlier. He's not separate from the water. That's nothing the water produces. There's no change in the water. That's the pshitas of the water. God is so great, there's room for us there, and he doesn't change. Not there's room for that's all he wants. He wants our image in him. And even more, the idea we're up to here. The idea never takes us to Atzmos. There's no other address. Through the beard of the Zil Nefesh Habahamis Nasa Zichur Kol HaParsois. We're not just dissolving this primary tzimtzum, this classic tzimtzum between Esesviras Agnuzis and Atzilus, but all of the parsois, all of tzimtzumim, Gama tzimtzum, Azichur to tzimtzum Arish, including the first tzimtzum that begins the whole process of Hishtalshas Adam Kadmon appears after that, and the Rotzen Elyon, it's all the whole process begins after that. That's dissolved. So what's left? Atzmus. So what comes out is we're opening up all of the channels, revealing that it's all Eibishter, and we're fusing, therefore, the manifested 10 Sviris, which is 40 Hishtalshalos, in Esesviris Agnuzis, with Esesviris Agnuzis, and that's in Kol HaDargish of Esesviris Agnuzis, tracing back every level of Parsa of Tzimtzum, most refined and subtle level, all dissolved. Kol Gam Esesviris Agnuzis, Shlift HaTzimtzum. No footnote for this, but there's Esesviris Agnuzis even before the Tzimtzum. Obviously, because I'm not shocked to find this. Atzmos wants, the Eibishter decided he wants to do it b'tachtonim. So the whole of Gvul and Esesviris is carried through from the very get-go, starting from Atzmos on some subtle level, because that's the whole thing. He wants a tachten. The end's going to be hardcore, as sort of my mother is a physical universe, and a goof made up of 10 basic components, and nefesh, and the whole thing. So we're going to find this Inyan of Eses, Sviris, Agnuzis, Bedakas, from the very first expression of the Eibishter's Nisava, because that's what the Nisava is. So and all of that is dissolved, meaning what's all dissolved? All the sense of concealment and helim and separation and distance is all resolved. What's revealed is, and that Mulvaldi, this is all him. Dissolved, not that it disappears, refined. It's all reflective. What is this? What is this? Is all Eibishter, Eibishter, Eibishter. In his desire for a relationship with Das Lamata. And we, Neshama, started it all off. Al Derech Zo continues the Idach. Shal Yidei, what's the Idach? Shal Yidei Zich Nefesh Habahamis. Let me just go back. Like through the bitter, I just said what? The Zikr of all the Parsois. And what's the Idach? He was going upwards. Yeah, they're going downwards. Yeah, right, good. So we were talking about Atzilus and higher. Now we're going Atzilus to downwards. Those divisions are refined between Atzilus and Biyah. And the Rebbe adds, Dikir Ahelim are the apostle. That's the one that affects us the most. That's the biggest Helim. Atzilus is still godliness. And we're going to Biyah creation. That division is refined. The net result being that us down here are connected with the Adam Elyon, and that is the gateway, one with all of the levels above. They say there are two avodas. That's the avodah of Abir Nefesh Bahamis. Because there's two in Yon Matan Torah. It's going to spell it out in a second. I think you said it earlier already. There's two in Yon Matan Torah accomplished. The Bir of the world and the Gilui of Atzmos. Now the Gilui of Atzmos, that's the avodah of the Nefesh Lekis purely. It's another related avodah. Avodah shal yod nimshach Gilui Atzmos Ein Sof. The avodah of the Nefesh Bahamis refines all of the veils, all of the tzimtzumim. That's what that does. And connects the Adam HaTachten with the Adam Elyon and all the way up. They kind of fall short of Atzmos Mamash because it's, why? Until we invoke the Neshama, we're not touching Atzmos. Neshama is rooted in Atzmos, and that's the underpinning of it all. What is the Avodah that touches Mamash Atzmos? It can't be the Nefesh Bahamis itself per se. Because it's a creation at the end of the day. What's going to touch God's essence is that which is rooted in His essence, and that's the avodah shemitzad neshama. So it's a separate avodah. And in brackets, shalom ma'alim islapshus k'nefesh habamis. It's not about refining the nefesh habamis. There are moments of pure transcendence, moments of pure neshama, which is not about refining the nefesh habamis. It's the pure revelation. This is the only thing that exists. That's a chelik l'kal mamash, and my neshama calls out to you. The nefesh habamis is not getting in the way. Refined. So what left? My neshama calling out to you. There's not two separate avodas. Of course, they're one kavanah. But what allows for my neshama, its expression. I mean, there could be moments where it'll happen of Mesiras Nefesh without bir. A person gives up his life, pure neshama. But overall, it takes avodah. It takes refinement of the guf, nefesh habahamis, to allow my neshama's expression. For the neshama to call out. And as he says now, this is the desire of the heart. Hashem's desire, wanting to hear, feel, and the Shama's longing and desire for Him. So Nefesh Habamis has to be refined, so it allows its expression. In other words, it's locked, trapped there, and not conscious. How is it that Avodah v'Yid nimshach gili atzmos himself? How do we touch God's essence when we call out to Him, when we long for Him? He's mitzad ma'alis on the Neshama because the Neshama is rooted there. The Olav Machshava, Yidden ascended in the Eibish's Machshava, in Mamish Chelek Lekal Mimal Mamish. Well, the Chen HaMashach is Gilui Zeh, to draw down Atmos Mamish, which is the end result, like the Erusa Derli, but that's in a pure Neshama's call. But allow the Neshama to express itself. That's the whole bit before. L'chayra. Let's go further, finish the Maimed. L'chayra, see, he's saying this. So amongst the Chiddushim, there's more nuance, but we're addressing here in the Chiddush that was that the innovation, the novelty of Matan Torah b'pam Hashem the first time. That is a Matan Torah b'chol shana. Likewise, every year Shavuos. Shnei inyonim. Number one, Hamshachas Gilei Atzmos Ein Sof Yisrael. Hashem reveals His essence to Yidden. Anoichi Havaya Lekecha, to every Jew. What elicits, touches the Eibishter Atzmos, that's the avodah of the desire of the heart, that's the avodah of the neshama, that's the pure Yid. And the second thing is and the removal of the decree that divides between upper and lower, that's the parsa, that's the tzimtzum, b'chol oilamas. Matan Torah gave the potential for the removal of that in all of existence, all of the world. What's going to remove this? This is ishtalshalus. That's how ishtalshalus works. There's a tzimtzum and there's a distance and higher than lower. And what's going to remove that is we at the end of the whole line. And the hardcore Nefesh Bahamis is going to refine himself. This is the fulcrum, and he's the Kavanah. We're the Kavanah, which will then refine all the Tzimtzumim. To affect this, the illumination of the Tzimtzum, that's engaging the Nefesh Bahamis and eating and drinking and so on, all the avodas that we do. But to do that, all Hashem Shemayim and so on. The first avodah is not eating and drinking. First avodah is pure neshama calling out to the Eibishter. Yeah, Yom Kippur, the quintessential moment where fasting, it's pure neshama, Havayu Elikim Shema Yisrael, that's pure neshama. But to get to that, it's tremendous avodah of birur. So that's going to answer our question. I don't see exactly if it answers the question. The beginning of the Maimon, he asked that the Bechol Ma'oidcha, Emes Hayim Temimus, when is the counting Temimus? When it falls out on a Sunday, that it accords with the week. Chassidus explains that accords with the Avodah Bechol Ma'oidcha. Now the Avodah Bechol Ma'oidcha L'chayda, it sounds like it's Temimus. There's Avodah without it. This adds the ikid is b'chol ma'idcha. So we do a kind of the answer now, because that's a separate union. But the other first point with the critical hachana, it's more than hachana. It's all part of dida b'tachtonim. It's because all that happens down here is the bir nefesh bahamis, and that's Islam. That's not b'chol ma'idcha take. The B'chol Ma'idcha is there now. B'chol Ma'idcha, neshama can cry, can call out unimpeded in its purity. But that's already a second inyan. The first inyan of the kavanah of Matan Torah is the bitter of the world. The bitter of the Shabbat is the bitter of the tzimtzumim to reveal a Havaya Holikim, and hence it's standalone. It's standalone. Bitter of Shabbat. That's a third of the answer. Therefore, let's continue. Therefore, that removes the parasa, and then there's taka the shleimus, which follows. We have b'chol ma'idcha rusa the liba pure neshama, which is mamshich the atzmas lamata. We're kind of clear l'chayr. Zeh masha kosev. Now the final ois. Let's have a look. You should count for yourself for the day that you bring the wave offering. What's the diuk? What's the wave offering? The pasuk then says, and adds the word ritzonchem. So what the pasuk is saying is the oimer is the nefesh baham, is the avodah. But when you do that, that's going to lead to ritzonchem. Your will, that's hinting to the Ritzonchem Barusa Deliber, that's stage one, or first part, which leads to the second part, the Neshama, Rotzen, the desire, the Neshama revealed purely in its desire for Hashem. Follow? That's so the pasuk is connecting the Oimer to the Ritzonchem also. The Oimer is the barley. That's Nefesh Bahamis. That's the bit of Nefesh Bahamis. But what does it lead to? According to your desire, it unlocks your will, the pure neshama. And that draws down in turn God's pure will. And that's the meaning that the Gemara says. When is it perfect? Again, we're touching the Ritzoyn. That's B'chol Ma'idcha, because the Omer Atnufa brings L'Ritzoyncha. You can't reveal the neshama without refining the Nefesh Bahamis. V'amshachos Adei Temimis, and that is V'amshachos Zuhin Atmimis, and that brings the true perfection. Amitis Hashleimus, when it's not just Nefesh Bahamis is refined, beautiful, the true, and therefore my neshama is free. My neshama can call out the true avodah of Rusa Liba, the true Jew comes out. L'chayra. Okay, l'chayra. Interestingly enough, I've got this beard. My metamavor, they offer no commentary at the end. They just say, not say anything. But they have a nice sikkim for us. I think this is in Geman Ashkenazi. It's worth us looking at the sikkim. Maybe I'll just do this, and we'll spend another 4 days. I'll just translate. You can follow along as they translate. Yeah? Should do it like that? Okay. So you see the Sikkim, I just sent it to you on a WhatsApp. Look at this WhatsApp, you'll see the Sikkim Klali. We have to understand what is the answer of Moshe Rabbeinu to the Malachim. They wanted the Torah Baruchnius. That was one question. Second question, when it comes, he says to them, do you murder, etc. You have a Yetzirah. Better you should have said is, mitzvah sabagashmi, so you're not shaykh to you. Is it like I said yesterday? Because they could have said, okay, so don't give us those ones, but give us the other mitzvahs. No, nothing applies to you because it's all begashmis. Why didn't you argue that? The explanation in Moshe's response is two in Yonim that address the two reasons the Torah was given. His response is, do you do malacha? So that is, number one, that the amshach of atzmos is dafka when mitzvahs is done begashmis. And number two, do you have a Yetzirah? Because see, when seeing how this all fits in, do you have a Yetzirah? Because through Torah mitzvahs you refine the nefesh bahamis. These are the two in Yon. He says at the end of the Maimon. We just looked now, right? Yeah. Sif Beis, the two. What's the bitter nefesh bahamis in more detail on what's the connection to Matan Torah? Through keeping mitzvahs, we refine nefesh bahamis, and two, the bitter is achonis. It's a preparation for Matan Torah. You have to understand. Dealing with nefesh bahamis, this is what causes amshachas atzmos anoichi. So the answer to that is it's takad achana. The bitter opens up for the neshama, the rusa, the liber, to be revealed. Okay, that's the answer at the end. Sifyud Aleph that we just learned. Yeah, it's clear. This is anoichi is only mitzad the neshama. That's the avoid of the neshama. But friends, we can't reveal on neshama if our goof is grob, nefesh bahamis is grob. It's stifled. The Shema Yisrael is a stifled Shema Yisrael. Chas v'shalom. Again, it can be moments where we have no choice to put against a firing squad. Jew or not, dies a Jew, we'll scream. That's pure. But that we don't want such avoidance. Should come to our daily and to besimcha to our own avodah. Siv Gimel. On the pasuk, Svartim Lachem, so the Medrash says, when is it Tamimis when you didn't do the Tzedek Shamakim? I told you the Pasha the Pshat over there. Pasha Pshat, it's a Medrash. Pasha Pshat is, Emisai Tamimis, when you get all the brachas, etc. for this is all, it's the whole thing, there should be a good harvest, etc. So when will all the forces of nature, come together when you didn't do the Tzedek Shamakim? That's the Pasha the Pshat. But Chassidus explained the Tzedek Shamakim, or that's the Mechal Ma'itcha, which explains, right, the Marsha. Famous Marsha, the Chassidus quotes. The Gemara says that when you didn't do the Tzedek Shamakim, others will omdu zarim v'ro tzeinchem. But vayim shemay tishmu is you're doing mitzvahs, and the reward is you'll gather it in. V'safta the ganach v'sreichel v'serecha. So the Marsha points out, no, what's missing there is B'chol Ma'itcha. So B'chol Ma'itcha, that's Ritzoynish, that's the connection. The Tzeinush shel Makim, Lashon HaGemara, that v'omdu zarim, when they do the Tzeinush shel Makim, not vayim shemay tishmu, but B'chol Ma'itcha, that's the Tzeinush shel Makim. Now, at the end of the mind, but we just saw that, right? B'chol Ma'itcha is the Tenufa is the Tzeinchem, it's Mamshech Tzeinush shel Makim, that's Amshachas Atzmos. So, in the question, so why is it just a Shleimus? The B'chol Ma'itcha is a critical, necessary preparation for Matan Torah. Both as a preparation, Akdama, going out of Mitzrayim, and both as a Hachana, to receive the Gilui Shel Hamaylim Midid Vagbonos. Again, the answer there is that it kind of is. It is. It's the bitter Nefesh Bahamis, which is the Achana for the Gilui Anochi, which is the Avodah of Nefesh Alikis. The answer validates the question. Taka is so. That's we just looked in Sif Yud Aleph. Okay, Sif Dalet Samri. So now this is the whole heart of the Maimon. The whole heart of the Maimon is that when we first preface the pasuk Kamayim Panim Lepanim Kain Lev Adam Ladam, like the face reflected in the water, so to the heart of one man to another. Again, what's Pasha the Pshat? Friends, what's Pasha the Pshat? What's shot in Mishlei? Just like that, it's natural when you put a face to the water, get the face reflected back. You show love to somebody else, you get love back. The way, and if you show opposite other emotions, you'll get other emotions back. The human heart responds to what's experiencing, just like water. That's the Pasha Pshat. So what are we learning in the mind? But they're just like looking to the water, so their face appears in the water. So too, Leva Adam La Adam. Who's the two Adams here? Adam Atachten. So we affect the Adam alien. And that's then reflected back to the Adam Atachten, to the person. Now, exploring the second part of the pasuk, mind upon him. What's the water here? The water is the pshitas of Ein Sof, which is beyond all description, and it's here. And yet the big chiddush is through our avodah halas man, we cause our image to be where in the pshitas of Ein Sof, which begs the next question. That's a tremendous chiddush. For the pasuk, it sounds like the other way around. What's more obvious is leva adam la adam. What's more the pasuk begins with the command upon that's more obvious than the second half of the pasuk leva adam adam, but not so. The Rishon impression adam atachtem adam elyon lechayda, that's still within our realm, that's somewhat as a atzilus, as a keiches hanefesh. But combine upon him, we're impressioning Ein Sof, and you're using that as an explanation, and therefore let's understand the second half of the pasuk is the other way around. Yeah, that's the question. Sivhei, what's that, friends? What's the answer to that? What was the answer to that question? You remember? Well, what's the question again? The question again is we're putting the bigger chiddush first. That we're affecting the pshitus. What do we learn in the end? No. That we should affect Atzilus. Atzilus is a tzira. How can we affect Atzilus? How can it receive us? There's no room for our avodah there. It's a beautiful tzira of alikus. No matter how, whatever we're doing, again, but get patchket, anything going to contribute to, it's going to mess it up. What's the whole answer at the end of the whole mind? No, that the pnimius of Atzilus is pshitus. Is the Ein Sof. And therefore God says, my child, yeah. It's open for you. It's all open for you. I'm completely open to you. Even where it appears I've already got this whole system. Nah, the pnimius, it's all open. It's all nebula. It's all because of you. You triggered, you started, it's all you. That's the end of the mind. So then the Bible says that that's a hasbara. Mind upon him is hasbara. Why is it there could be leva adam la adam? Because the pnimius of the adam alien is the pshitus of the Ein Sof. Why? The whole mechanics we learned. Because Atzilus only exists as a reflection of Esesiris Agnuzas Bepnimius. And what's that? That's Maya, nothing else. It's Eibishter. Okay, again, guys, we need to, every mind we got to think, but this one, we spend so much time in it. You just have to, find the time. We're all busy. Learn it through, break the head, and get us clear, each one on their level. So in Sif Hey, he gave an attempted answer but rejected it. In Sif Hey, you might want to say, well, of course, Pshitus is easier to receive than not Pshitus. But that's true, he says, when the Pshitus is of the same category, physical or spiritual. But Ein Sof, what do you mean? We can impression Ein Sof because it's a clear canvas. It's not an altogether altogether. So what is it? There's no chiddush there. It's no given that we can impression Ein Sof. What he was talking about? It's not an altogether. So now he said the answer is what? So how does this all happen? Because all our bitzayin is barach. This is God's decision. Rooted in Atzmos, the sarusa de letata, that our avodah should elicit all the amshachas above, including the ma'al al yonim, even though it's totally beyond us. And that creates therefore a relationship because of his desire. Because of his desire, the Ein Sof becomes our sug, becomes our category. Because he's only manifesting Ein Sof because he wants a relationship with us. Then Sivov, why? Your infinite revelation, the Ein Sof, the purity that reveals your exclusive reality, which is totally beyond creation. You're saying it's the same sug as us, and therefore it's in our world and we can impression. What's the underpinning of all of that? The answer is because Sivav, the all little bit Zayin, I'm sorry, Zayin is, I'm sorry, Sivav, because Yid Namushish and Atzmos. And if a Yid will do it, you, a Yid, will serve, you'll touch me, reach out to me, then you have a connection to all my revelations and Bligvol and Ein Sof and Pshitus. It's all you. It's all your world. You're at home here, my child, because you're rooted in my essence, and that's how this whole thing began. I thrust you into a goof and you don't feel it, and you're eons away from your pristine source, but you're still forever the Jew. And you carry this atmisdike property forever that I'm a Yid. And therefore you're shaykhs to everything, and everything I did is only because of you. So then he went into the whole explanation how Pasha this works. He wants us to understand this. This is Chabad. This is part of the relationship, that we should appreciate what it in Sof is and what its Pnimis is and Esivus Agnuzis, Esivus Agluis. And now we are the foundation, the fulcrum there. We started all, we ended all, it's all us. So what's the all? That we have to understand and appreciate. That's what's going to engender the awe, the love, and everything else. That's the stuff of relationship, is in the engagement of the details of our relationship. And these are the profound details of the relationship. Starting Siv Zayin. To understand all these to understand all the dargis and Eid Sof and the beauty, the pshittus of Eid Sof, we first have to define what is Eses V'Nes Agnuzis. So first he talked about the way the word Nakudim. No, that's still a higher level. There's a level where they're there but not there. Their possibility. And what's the moshel? Incredible moshel. This moshel exists because, again, every moshel Siddur brings is not let's find something that's going to be a parallel. The moshel itself devolves from this. The reason there's the union of Shem and name Lamata and Kesa Shemta v'oila al gabeyan. Beautiful sichas of the Rebbe and Biur Mechsidus, a good name, like at the external level, it's like this guy's a Torah and this guy's a good name. That's the ultimate. That's been abused. The main thing is it should be popular. That's what the Mishnah is saying. Kes Hashem Tov El Al Gabeya. The Baal Shem Tov. Why are we seeing now? Because we have all appreciation what a name means. A name is an inyan that's only real when someone else calls it. So it's indicative of the whole Dira B'Tachtonim thing. It's a powerful, that's why we say Kiddush Hashem, Kiddush Hashem Chabad, you invoke the name constantly. It's a popularity contest. I'm getting it, just throwing this in here, just a sense of how we're learning Siddur just completely opens our eyes to understanding, period, everything. Anything and everything. So, what's the moshel for Eses V'Nes Agnuzis? What is it? It's Yecholes. And what's the moshel Amata? What's the manifestation of a person's name? That for him, it absolutely doesn't exist. It only exists when someone calls him, and then he turns to you. Sivches. He says, he asked the question. What Sivches answers he doesn't spell out the question. The question he asked Sivches was, now that we explain now that the Pshitus, the Mayim, is the same sug as us because of God's desire for a relationship with us. So what's between that level and that's the Sivches Agnuzis? They're both just Yecholes. That's the Sivches Agnuzis itself. And the Mayim, there's one darga. Well, so the answer is, remember the question, we spent some time in it. So the answer is that the essence, the way the Mayim is, the moshel is, remember this, the moshel of the shame is a person's consent that if you give me a name, I'll call to you. There's still not another name yet. It's all within the person. In the words of the Maimer, the Eses V'Nes Agnuzis, as they are in the Mayim, that's not something else. Whereas once Eses V'Nes merge already is a name, it's already a consent of someone's going to call this. There's some otherness already. There's some otherness. Nimshal, it would be, again, a person that could have a name. That would be the Muslim. So there's no name at all there, just could have. Yechelis for Hashem. Whereas Esfus is already the name. But that's itself Taka Yechelis. It's nothing unless someone else calls him, but you're already consenting that there's someone else that could call him. We'll stop here. Later goes on to say the mind, but even once the Eser Agnosis actually appeared, it's still the Pshitas of the mind. That's the whole Chiddush going to be. That's fusion of these two levels, as it were. We continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. Okay. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'm so